In 1995, the world was introduced to industrial society and its future, a manifesto written by the notorious Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. The document outlined his views on technology, modern society, and his call for violence to combat what he saw as the destruction of human freedom. For over a decade, Kaczynski evaded capture despite sending a series of bombs that killed 3 people and injured 23. His true identity remained a mystery until forensic linguists made a breakthrough, using linguistic analysis to crack the case. The Manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future, was a 35,000-word document published by the New York Times and the Washington Post in 1995. Kaczynski promised to stop his bombing campaign if the newspapers published it in full. It was a document of profound philosophical and political arguments, attacking the dangers of technological advancement and claiming that modern society was responsible for the destruction of human freedom and individual autonomy. Forensic linguists, experts in analyzing language and writing patterns, played a crucial role in identifying the Unabomber. Linguistic analysis involves examining the style, structure, and distinctive features of a person's writing. In Kaczynski's case, experts found that his manifesto displayed specific patterns and quirks of writing that were identifiable to someone familiar with his background. One of the first things forensic linguists noticed was Kaczynski's unique writing style. His sentences were often complex and dense, revealing a methodical and intellectual approach to argumentation. He used long, elaborate sentences, and his writing carried a tone of authority. The manifesto also featured frequent use of italics to emphasize key points, suggesting that Kaczynski was not just writing to inform, but to persuade and dominate the reader's thoughts. This stylistic choice was unusual and highly distinctive. Dr. James Fitzgerald, a former FBI profiler, was one of the first experts to spot important linguistic clues. Fitzgerald was able to identify key patterns in Kaczynski's writing that were consistent with the writings found in a journal that Kaczynski had kept for years. The manifesto's vocabulary, sentence structure, and tone of voice matched perfectly with the writing that investigators found in Kaczynski's past. One of the most important breakthroughs in the case came when experts compared Kaczynski's manifesto to a set of personal letters written by Kaczynski over the years. The similarities in sentence construction, the consistent use of specific phrases, and the overall style of writing helped linguists make a match. The key linguistic clue that linked the manifesto to Ted Kaczynski was his use of the phrase, "we are told." This phrase appeared multiple times throughout the manifesto, in a way that was unique and revealing. Forensic linguists had noticed this phrase in letters Kaczynski had sent to university officials years earlier, solidifying the connection. Another significant linguistic feature that matched was Kaczynski's consistent use of the word techno-industrial, a phrase he coined to describe the destructive forces of technology in modern society. This term was used frequently in the manifesto and also appeared in personal writings and other communications that had been previously associated with Kaczynski. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, also relied on forensic linguistics to identify the Unabomber. Experts from the BAU focused on identifying the psychological profile of the writer based on their linguistic patterns. They concluded that the writer was likely an isolated individual, possibly highly educated, with a deep disdain for the rapid progression of technology. By analyzing the manifesto's content, tone, and structure, the BAU also determined that the writer was someone with a deep sense of intellectual superiority and perhaps a misanthropic personality. This helped narrow down the pool of potential suspects to individuals who fit the psychological profile. While forensic linguistics had made significant strides, the breakthrough that ultimately led to Ted Kaczynski's arrest came from a closer examination of his family. In particular, his brother David Kaczynski, who had read the manifesto and recognized the writing style as strikingly similar to that of his brother. David Kaczynski, who had been estranged from Ted for years, eventually contacted the FBI. He provided them with key personal writings from Ted that matched the manifesto's linguistic style. This was the final piece of the puzzle, and Ted Kaczynski was arrested in April 1996, almost a year after the manifesto's publication. Ted Kaczynski was arrested in his remote cabin in Montana, where he had been living in isolation. Following his arrest, investigators found bomb-making materials and other evidence linking him to the bombings. In 1998, Kaczynski pled guilty to all charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case of the Unabomber is one of the most notable examples of forensic linguistics being used to solve a high-profile criminal case. Linguistic analysis provided investigators with the key to cracking the Unabomber's identity when other traditional methods had failed. It also highlighted the power of language and writing as tools for understanding a criminal's mindset. The case set a precedent for the use of forensic linguistics in criminal investigations. Since the Unabomber case, forensic linguistics has been used in numerous high-profile criminal cases, including cybercrimes, fraud investigations, and even defamation cases. It has become a crucial tool for law enforcement and has helped bring criminals to justice through the analysis of their language and communication style. Ted Kaczynski's arrest shows how forensic linguistics can be a game-changer in criminal investigations. It was through the careful analysis of his writing style, the unique linguistic fingerprints he left behind, and the psychological profile derived from his manifesto that investigators were able to identify and arrest one of the most elusive criminals in modern history. Forensic linguistics proved that sometimes the answers to the most complex cases lie in the words we use and the way we communicate. If you're interested in exploring how language can help solve crimes, enroll in Elern College's Diploma in Forensic Psychology today.